G'day guys, how are we going? Well, here we are, back again for another Sunday night chat with you guys. Make sure you can all hear loud and clear, but tonight's chat's going to be about the 9 of the best river crossings. That's 9 of the best river crossing tracks that there are in the Victorian High Country. This is a list that I've put together, and I'm not talking about, there's a couple there with maybe a single crossing, but most of them are going to be 5 plus continuous crossing tracks in the Victorian High Country. So stick around for this because we've got a fair few to get through. I'm going to cover 9 of my top list of tracks. I'm going to start from Mansfield all the way through to the New South Wales border. So stick around. G'day, Greg. How you going there, mate? Hopefully you can hear what's going on all nice and loud and clear. That'll be pretty good. Tyler, how you going there, mate? Thanks very much for coming in. Righto. So we'll get on to the first one here. Got a bit of a list that I put together down here. Now the first one. Now this is going to take us from Mansfield right through to New South Wales border. Now the first one, we've sort of covered a little bit of this one in some of my beginner videos that we've done, live chats we've done the last few weeks. Now it would be down through the King River. So, you're going to do 5 crossings along the King River there between sort of Pineapple Flat and King Hut. So they're certainly well worth doing. Generally pretty easy going most of the time, but again, all of this is going to be certainly well dependent on weather. And if you're going to have a crack at any of these, a snorkel is an absolute must. I've said it many times before, and no snorkel, well, pretty much no high country if you want to have a good look through it, because there's that many river crossings in the high country. There's plenty of them. So that's probably the first one there, that one down through the King River. G'day, Ash, guys. How you going, mate? How's the Serenity? Love it's pretty good. Going through pretty good. Love the Serenity, mate. So the King River's that probably that first one. Down through Mansfield area there. Just a quick one before we get in this. Like if you had say maybe 4 or 5 days spare and going to do a trip from say Mansfield, maybe through to say Dargo, you're going to potentially do anywhere in around 40, 50 river crossings in a trip like that. So it's where weather dependent is very, very important. How much rain sort of been falling as to what the height of these rivers are going to be. So you need to be very, very careful with these sort of crossings going through at sort of any time of year. But a lot of it also is dependent on tracks being open. Because a lot of these tracks and these tracks we're going to talk about will be closed up during the track closure time. So we'll get on to the next one. Now, next one I've got here is Butcher Country. Now, the next two would be a cracking weekend trip. If you've got a couple of days, you're looking for a couple of days to get away somewhere and want to do a few river crossings. Well, Butcher Country out of Lacola. Now, you're going to do 5, 6 crossings there of the McAllister River. Now, these can be sort of fairly deep at times, particularly after heavy rain, because, the McAllister River has a fair sort of catchment, so it can flow very hard and can drop very, very quickly and rise very, very quickly. So you need to be very mindful of weather conditions if you're going to do any of these sort of tracks. So that Butcher Country, and then you head up onto Howard High Plain, and then back down Caledonia River Track. You could do this either way. You could go do Caledonia first and then Butcher Country, but Caledonia is another cracking track. And along Caledonia, you're going to do probably about 12, 13 river crossings of the Caledonia River down the bottom down there. Now, a lot of these generally aren't that long across. They're fairly shortish, but again, all dependent on weather. So you need to take that one into account. So there's the top 3. You've got King River, Butcher Country, and Caledonia. And as I say, that Butcher Country and Caledonia track would make an absolute cracking weekend trip if you're going to do looking to get away for a couple of days. G'day, Jack. How you going there, mate? I'm going pretty good. And Gary, thanks very much, guys, for coming in there tonight. And a water bra's certainly a high recommendation to at least carry one. If you particularly if you're going to get out during that winter times, after heavy rains and that sort of stuff. But water bra, I've got one at the back, and I carry it with me all the time during winter. You just never know. So water bra is absolute must. Get on to the next one here. Coming out of Wonnagatta. So if you get down into Wonnagatta and you want to head towards Dargo, the first crossing you're going to come to way out, heading out Wonnagatta track, heading towards Dargo is the first crossing there, going to cross the Wonnagatta River. Well, if you get across there and then head towards Hearn Spur, as most people do, because Hernspur's a cracking drive going up there. Well, you can do 5 or 6 crossings there of the Wanangata River. Now, they can be, of any sorts too. Most of those can be sort of a fair way across too. So need to be very, very mindful and sort of look about what the weather's been doing, if any sort of rain, that sort of stuff, because they can rise very, very quickly, especially the Wanangata River. Look, I sort of call the Wanangata River like the Murray River of the Victorian High Country. It's a major river system, and it certainly has a massive water catchment. So that's an absolutely really nice drive through there, through that Wanangata River track, all the way up to Hernspur, then up Hernspur and then into Dargo. And then the next one I've got here, well, it's not really sort of a lot of river crossings, but it's a bit of an iconic one. I think most of us have probably driven it. And that's that big crossing at Kingswell Bridge in Dargo there. Now, it's probably good 40 metres across. And fair dinkum, it has caught out a number of full drives, getting across that when it's too high and flowing too hard. If you just have a look at the photo board that's in the Dargo pub, you'll see quite a few full drives that have come unstuck on that crossing, getting across at Kingswell Bridge there. So if it is too high, well then take the bridge across. But if you want to have a crack at the river, it's a nice drive across there, providing the conditions are right. So that's that one there. And then we're going to get into, from Kingswell Bridge, we're going to now head to towards Talbotville. And from between Kingswell Bridge and Talbotville, there's another 6 crossings here of the Crooked River. And generally the first 2 go in this direction are generally can be the deepest, and generally most time of year they are the deepest. And this track's open all year round, so you can do this all year round. This between Kingswell Bridge and into Talbotville. Certainly worth having a go at those, and drive all the way through to there. So you say there's 6 crossings there going through to Talbotville, and then if you're going to base up for the night, maybe camp at Talbotville and get up the next day, well, then you head out the northern end of Talbotville, and then you got another 24 you can go and do. It's just endless. So another 24 crossings there you can do of the Crooked River as you head out of Talbotville, and then just 24 Ks. So is that track before it starts going up there at Bulltown Spur. So yeah, there's 24 crossings there you can go and do. And at the moment, I believe they're fairly challenging, some of those at the latter end if you're going from Talbotville towards Bulltown. So that's another one there worth having a go at. So there's 24 there you can go and do. And where else have we got here? And this is a bit of an iconic one. I've only driven this track once, and that's Haunted Stream. Now, there's 54 crossings you can go and do on Haunted Stream in about 20-odd Ks. Now, I had a bad experience on Haunted Stream, and the one and only time that I did drive it, which was probably about 3 years ago maybe. Driving through one of the mud holes there that was sort of a bit full of water, and there was a heap of logs sort of under the surface, and a log came up and punched my slave cylinder on my clutch. So I went to change gears and reverse back, and the clutch pedal went straight to the floor. So now I've got no clutch. So this was a very interesting time, and I was with a mate of mine, so that was a good thing at the time, and lucky it was probably midweek too, which probably did help. So had to key start the patrol in low range second gear just to get it going again, and got it started, and my mate went off ahead of me. We still had probably about 30 odd crossings still to do at this stage. We only went through a few of them, so there's about 30 plus still to do at this stage before we got back out on the Alpine Road. So he went away in front of me, and he kept an eye out for any vehicles that were coming towards me, because I had no clutch, so there was no stopping. And that's lucky. So lucky no vehicles were on the track. We kept in radio contact all that way through there. And so I drove the last 30 odd with second gear low range, not stopping, no clutch, couldn't just keep on going all the way through till we got back out on the main road. And then when we got to the main road, just hit the brakes and stalled her there, and then drove her back to his place. At the key started again, and managed to do a bit of a trucky change up the main roads there to get it from second gear into third gear into high range into two-wheel drive now. But so that's my experience of Haunted Stream. So there's 54 you can go and do there. Absolutely cracking track. So have a go at that one. But I do believe, I'm not sure if it's open at the moment. It's a bit of hit and miss, the old Haunted Stream. It's been closed and open. So not sure what's going on there, but need to check if you're looking to do that one. And it is a seasonally closed track as well. So it's only open if it's open. It's only open, for the next month or two, a couple of months until it closes again. And then The last one I've got here, this is a bit of a big iconic one that probably most of us have driven. When you're going from Victoria into New South Wales, and that's crossing the mighty Murray River up there at Tom Groggin. That's a bit of an iconic river crossing, that one there. Where you go into Victoria and New South Wales, magnificent spot, and Murray River's nice and beautiful and clean up there at that time of the year. So yeah, there's well worth checking out. So there's those. As Aphil is King River, Butcher Country, Caledonia, out of Wonnangatta, Kingswell Bridge to Talbotville. Out of Talbotville, you got 24 to do. Hornet Stream and the mighty Victorian High Country when you cross over the river there into Talbot, into Tom Groggin. So they're sort of my top 9. I don't know whether there's many others after that where you got sort of continuous river crossings. You know, there's certainly plenty of others around where you got maybe 1 or 2 crossings involved, but when you're talking multiples of sort of 4 and 5 plus, that's my top list. It's my list of top 9 river crossing tracks in the whole Victorian High Country, that is. So what have you guys got? Be pretty keen to see what you guys have got. G'day, Jack. How you going there, mate? Have you ever made the man of swag? No, I've not done that, mate. Far out. Who asked the Fed income? Who asked me that? The GQ. How you going, mate? Wish I had $1 for every time I've had recoveries for an inexperienced who attempt a river crossing right at Bindaree Hut. The old Bindaree Hut can be a bit of a tricky one there, particularly if you're going towards Bindaree Hut. There's a big hole on the left there, so on the right-hand side there, which is always there because it's a pretty hard crossing. So if you're going to take on that crossing there of the Harker River there at Bindaree Hut, stay sort of left of centre if you're going towards the hut. So there's a tip there. Stay away from that big hole because it generally catches a few out because it's pretty rough going across. Getting dirty. How are you going there, mate? Crossing the Thompson River at Brunton's Bridge is also a good one. Yep, another crossing, Crooked River next to Kingswell. Yeah, we sort of covered the Kingswell one, but yeah, that crossing of the Thompson River, there's a couple there around that Jammo area with the Thompson River. Can get fairly cranking there too at certain times of the year. So need to be certainly careful of all of those. GQ, are you organising this event for early April? Well, not sure if we're going to organise an event for early April. We'll see how we go with the white one. G'day, Jack. Yeah, lost the clutch. Yeah, mate. It was a very interesting moment. Let me give you the drum. So, and then I had to drive it all the way home because we managed to get it back to my mate's place. We got enough clutch fluid back in it again to get it sort of semi-working. We sort of patched it up enough where I could get a bit of clutch pedal back again. But yeah, driving it from his place all the way back home again was interesting too, going through roundabouts and down through the highway and towns and that sort of stuff with very little clutch use. So I could make sure I got it home, but I ended up getting home anyway. G'day, Phil, coming from New Zealand, mate. Thanks so much there coming in tonight. Greatly appreciate that. Bet you'd have some cracking river crossings over there in New Zealand, that's for sure. That'd be pretty awesome to get over there. G'day, Jack. If I was bloody hell, mate. Greg, how you going there, mate? Goulburn and Kevington, couple of weeks ago was pretty tame. Yeah, look, at the moment it probably would be. There hasn't been a great deal of rain around, so yeah, the river crossings are going to be a little bit tame at the moment. But hey, they can change in 24 hours or even less. So yeah, you got to be very careful and just evaluate it at the time and see what's going on with the weather when you're talking about heading out there. Okay, Daniel, how you going, mate? We'd love some ideas on a trip plans for 2 nights for our 4-drive club coming up from Ararat. Where do you want to go, mate? That's pretty endless on where we can sort of go with that. Some trip ideas is endless, mate. So I've got stacks of videos there. Might be able to give you some ideas, but maybe check out a few of those. Might be a good idea. Carter, how you going there, mate? From Port Adelaide. How you going there? Good. Port Adelaide 4-drive club. Hoping to do the High Country next year. Well, mate, hopefully everything goes all right and you guys can get down here from South Australia. That'd be pretty cool. See you guys down here in the mighty Victorian High Country. Hopefully it all goes well for you, mate. Phil, yes, most of them are from South Islands here, right? That's pretty cool. Tyler, have you got any trips planned, mate? They're always planned, mate, but most of the time they just happen. So I don't sort of plan too far ahead because you just never know what's going on most of the time. So yeah, we'll see what that all pans out. But there's always something going on, mate. Plenty going on, that's for sure. Greg, do underbody tyre carriers cause much floating? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think the 100 series and those sort of guys have tyres hanging under the back of them, and if they haven't got wheel carriers hanging off the back. So, yeah, I don't know. be interesting to know. Maybe they might cause a bit of flotation there with tyres that slung underneath the back of them where the fuel tank is. So yeah, be interesting little point there. G'day, Leanne. How you going there? Love my recent trip in the Butcher Country track. Yeah, wet feet. Yep, plus plenty of bog holes, that's for sure. Well, that's the thing with like Caledonia too. I don't think it's all been fixed up, but it was really bad a few years ago down that Caledonia track. It was full of bog holes and really bad bog holes. I don't know. I think they did repair it after the bushfires there a few years ago and filled all the trenches and that sort of thing. But I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been down there for quite some time, so I'm not really sure there. Pete, yeah, Humphreys River track is awesome. That's another good one as you head out of Wonnangatta. That's certainly another good one for sure. G'day, David. How you going there, mate? Going pretty good. Right, so that's my list. I'd be interested to know if I've probably potentially missed any. A few guys have got a list of tracks that you reckon that you got to do with sort of continuous river crossing tracks. Chuck them in the comments down below because I'll be pretty sort of keen to read about any other tracks that are going around. But I reckon I've pretty much covered a lot of them. Most of them there from Mansfield right through to New South Wales of pretty good river crossing tracks. And as I say, if you're going to do a trip from Mansfield through to Dargo and you had a sort of 4 or 5 days, you'd be doing 40, 50 river crossings on a trip like that. So, yeah, so that's one good thing about the mighty Vic High Country. And, you know, there's many of river crossings around Australia, but feeding them, a lot of them are down right here in the old Vic High Country. Great spot. G'day, Jack. How you going there, mate? In the high country over the last few years, and I don't know about that. Jack, you're staying home, right? That's fair enough. I won't be staying home, that's for sure. Chris, let's go there, mate. To a Land Cruiser Club trip, Easter, hoping to do Crooked River on the way back to Glen Maggie. Right, well, there you go. That's a few tips there for you, mate. Get on that Crooked River track all the way through. We got 24 at one end and 6 the other end, so there's 30 between bottom of Bulltown to the time you get to Kingswell Bridge. And hopefully the weather's all right. When are you going? In April? So, yeah, probably mightn't be too bad at that time of year in Easter. So see how it goes, mate. But just keep an eye on that weather, that's for sure. G'day, Daz. Travelling when travelling in the high country, at what point do you change hats from the baseball hat to your Cobra? I don't change hats, mate. I go everywhere in the bush with me good old mighty Cobra, mate. Don't generally swap hats over, but yeah, this one goes good. G'day, Tyron. How you going there, mate? Tyron from Bundaberg at the work, living the dream and loving the videos, champ. Thanks very much. Appreciate it for dropping in there tonight. Yeah, look, trying to do all that. It's pretty good. G'day, CRJ Shearing. I'm going good, mate. I'm going pretty good. Hopefully everything's going all right at your end as well. Jack in the New South Wales High Country is just as good. Yeah, look, I'm sure there probably is, mate. I haven't done a lot around New South Wales other than Bodigans and a few other places up through there. But yeah, I haven't really done much up through there. Maybe might get up and have a bit of a look up through there at some stage. But I'm sure there's plenty of other places. But that's just covering the Vic High Country with some cracking tracks we can certainly do down here. Well, there you go, guys. We might wrap this one up. Well, there's mine. Where are we? My nine top tracks you can go and do. Best river crossing tracks in the whole Victorian High Country. That's my top 9. If you've got any extras, chuck in the comments down below because I'll be pretty keen to see what you guys reckon. Well, there you go, guys. Have a great week, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hooroo. Thanks very much for dropping in. Greatly appreciate it. See you later on.